What's up guys, Penguin Overlord here, and welcome back to Ghost Recon Wildlands. In today's video, by viewer request, we're going to talk about how I set up, or how I prefer to set up, the Mark 17. So I kind of run it a little bit differently than most people, and we'll get to all the whys, but first, just so that way people watching the video can just see what I'm running, and if they don't want to stay for the long explanation, they can get out quickly. So I will use the compensated buttstock to reduce recoil, digital scope, my preferred assault rifle optic, 30 round magazine, because duh, foregrip V4, not the grenade launcher like I usually run on assault rifles. We'll talk about that. Laser sight, pick whichever one you want. Short barrel, and Comp V2, and that's how I like to run my Mark 17. Now, I know everyone's going to be in the comment section asking, why don't you run the Mark 17 as a DMR? That's kind of the obvious choice. What are you doing running down a chopped down version of it, Penguin Overlord? Well, couple things. One, I generally don't like using assault rifles as DMRs. I did an assault rifle setup and deployment video a while back. I generally prefer to run them loud, like without compensator, or of course with the grenade launcher. Basically, I like to run them as the weapon I use when things go wrong, and I generally doesn't work too well if it's set up like a DMR for a couple of reasons. One, the recoil is going to be a lot more. It's going to be suppressed, so you're going to lose out on the recoil reduction of the Comp V2, and it's just usually the damage is not really there. But the thing with the Mark 17 is, because I actually did some testing recently, which I'll put up video of that, but did some testing recently just to confirm my opinion, see, because it's been a while since I've played with the Mark 17 as a DMR, so I just wanted to see if my opinion had any factual basis to it, and I had to change it slightly. So again, I still generally don't like running assault rifles as DMRs, but the Mark 17, provided you know where to hold over for when you're aiming the rifle, it actually kind of works okay. So the damage is there. It'll generally take 3 shots to kill an enemy, which is pretty good, which actually puts it on par with most most semi-auto snipers in the game. With the Mark 14, with the G28, the SR25 usually takes 2 shots to kill, although it can sometimes take 3 if you don't really aim correctly. If you get a shot in the legs, for example, which that's an important thing people need to take account when trying to test damage, because testing damage is kind of complicated. Here's the thing. It will matter where you hit your target. If you hit the target in the legs, it's going to take more shots to bring him down. But if you hit him in the chest or the head, it's going to take fewer. So, providing you know where to hold for the Mark 17, you could actually make it work as a DMR. But here's why I don't. For one, like I said, I like to run my assault rifles loud with grenade launchers. And when I get to talking about why I run my loadout, we'll talk about why I don't use a grenade launcher on mine, Mark 17. So, yeah, generally not what I do and not what I recommend. But the main reason I don't generally run the Mark 17 as a DMR is because generally the magnification is going to be really too low for sniping purposes. So you can put on the ACOG, the TA31H in game. That gives you 4 times magnification, which is decent, I guess, but with my semi-auto snipers, I like to take them out to longer ranges, like at 400 meters, and at that distance, I mean, if your holdovers are good and you know what you're doing and you've properly figured out the holdovers for your rifle and setup, you can make the hits, but it's just really hard to see all that detail out to that distance. The targets are going to be smaller than, say, let me pull up my SR25. So I've got the G28 scope, which gives you 5 times magnification. It does help quite a bit, and obviously you can use the T5XI if you want to for 6 power magnification, but I don't, other reasons, I won't get into that. But it's really hard to see the targets out the distance. You can make it work, but it's just not really what I prefer to run. Also, the thing with the Mark, you have to understand what the Mark 17 is. It does not have really good bullet drop. It's actually kind of bad. Dark Dally did a video series on this a while back, comparing all the different assault rifle bullet drops in the game, and I will throw a link to his findings in the description below. But for now, I'll just put up a screenshot and compare two other rifles: the AUG A3, which has the lowest amount of bullet drop, out of all of the assault rifles in the game, obviously equipped with long barrel, and I've compared those two with the SR-25, and as you can see, the SR-25 has less bullet drop than the assault rifles. So yeah, that's why I generally prefer running the semi-auto sniper rifles as DMRs rather than the assault rifles. They're just not as effective in terms of bullet drop, and obviously with the SR-25, I know where I need to make my holds. I can hit targets out at incredible distances, 500, 600 meters, not a problem at all. So, and with this, I mean, if I got more time behind it, I could make it happen, but not really what I prefer to do. So that's generally why I don't run the Mark 17 as a DMR. Instead, I like to run it as a chop down, compensated assault rifle, and we'll talk about that, why I do that in 1 minute. Okay, so I got the Mark 17 set back as my preferred setup for running it, which is short barrel. Let me pull up the part. Short barrel, comp, laser, all that good stuff. So here's the thing again about the Mark 17. It's generally not my favorite assault rifle. I like having assault rifles with a higher rate of fire, and this, I believe, has the lowest rate of fire out of all the assault rifles. I think the what's that one rifle? Sorry, going off on a tangent here. The R5 RGP. Oh no, that does have a higher rate of fire. Okay, so this is definitely the lowest rate of fire assault rifle in the game. So that can run into issues where you're trying to engage multiple enemies at once. You can get downed, and I'm sure I'll have video of that. I'm sure I'll have video up of that, but if you can take the targets on one or two at a time, this actually does perform very well. It does have good damage, even with a short barrel. It generally takes 3 shots to kill. Sometimes with other assault rifles, it can take 4 or 5. It's got very, very low recoil, and I'm going to put up a video. I'm comparing it with, comparing this setup against my general go-to assault rifle, the LVOA, with a grenade launcher. And as you can see, it has much lower recoil. So that's one thing it's got going for it. Yes, you are giving up somewhat its effectiveness at range with the short barrel, but it does perform decently in CQB. Also, there's a reason why I run the foregrip V4 compared to the M203 grenade launcher. Now, I love the grenade launcher in Wildlands. It is very, very effective. Maybe a little bit too effective. I don't know if in real life a grenade launcher could take out a helicopter, because I've never had to do that before, ever. But in game, it really is, the handling on it is really slow. Like the ADS, it looks okay, but when you have to reload, it's really, really slow, and that is very much not good. Even though I like grenade launchers, it looks cool on the gun. Not what I prefer. With the foregrip V4, yeah, I lose access to the grenade launcher, so that's why I don't really run it as much, but the handling speed, you see, it's much faster now. And if I need to reload, you can see the difference there. It does make it a little bit faster on the gun, so that's why I don't run the grenade launcher on there. But yeah, this is actually, if you think running the grenade launchers on a gun is a little bit overpowered and you just don't like using it, this is actually a pretty decent setup. I do play with it from time to time, and I do like playing with this particular setup a bunch. It's not my go-to because I like having that grenade launcher on me, but this is fun to play with it. So if you like the idea of the setup, feel free to give it a try. You might like it too. But anyway, that's it. That's my Mark 17 setup, why I run it that way. Let me know if you have a question or comments down in the comment section below. Like or dislike if you think Mark 17 DMR is life. And I'm Penguin Overlord, and I will see you all in the next video. Take care, guys.
couldn't help yourself. Just can't walk away from a fight.
That skill's not on my resume.
Finish the damn mission. Get Daniel to the exfil. I'll be in touch.